Hi, welcome to Hannity. The 45th president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, has now been indicted by the Biden Justice Department over alleged crimes that Biden himself is also accused of committing. But while the ongoing federal documents investigation into Joe Biden is going seemingly nowhere, Donald Trump is now being forced to appear before a federal judge on Tuesday to face what is now criminal charges, all 37 felony counts. By the way, it's called count stacking, 31 of the counts of willful retention of national defense information, 6 process crimes. President Trump is calling this election interference at the highest level. Members of Congress are now openly comparing the U.S. government to a corrupt banana republic. And on this program, the great one, Mark Levin, called it a war on the republic. And coming up tonight, we'll get full legal analysis from our own Greg Jarrett, Alan Dershowitz, former acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker. We'll also hear from former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, and later, stay tuned for my preview of my exclusive interview with California Governor Gavin Newsom. That's all coming up this Friday night. But first, we begin with a statement that you hear a lot from the left. Nobody's above the law. They say there is one set of rules for every American. In fact, the DOJ special counsel, Jack Smith, who is prosecuting Donald Trump, emphasized this during a press conference earlier today. Unfortunately, I'm not buying it, and I'll explain in a minute, but take a look.
How did the FBI view the incident in which Hillary Clinton instructed Jake Sullivan to take the markings off of a document that was to be sent to her?
Yeah, we looked at that pretty closely. There was some problem with their secure fax machine, and there's an email in which she says, in substance, take the headers off of it and send it as a non-paper.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
There are hundreds of classified documents on these servers. How many people, without a security clearance, had access to that server?
I don't know the exact numbers. I sit here. It's probably more than 2, less than 10.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined by the owning agency to contain classified information at the time they were sent or received. 8 of those chains contained information that was top secret at the time they were sent. 36 of those chains contained secret information at the time, and 8 contained confidential information at the time. Although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
One set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone. Really? No reasonable prosecutor would bring charges against Hillary Clinton, even though Hillary, we now know, mishandled thousands of classified documents. James Comey says it, which were illegally stored on her private servers, likely, they believed, hacked by foreign countries, our adversaries. She then attempted to cover her tracks by deleting another 33,000 emails, wiped all of those hard drives clean with something we had never heard of before called BleachBit. And then, of course, the BlackBerries, the iPhones, they were smashed with hammers and SIM cards were removed. Now take a look at your screen. This is Joe Biden's garage during a campaign filmed in 2020 next to his precious Corvette before Biden was president. Well, at that very same location, right in that same garage right there, classified documents were uncovered, possibly in the cardboard box on your screen. Now, that's next to Joe's precious car, but more classified documents were also found in Biden's office at his house in Wilmington. And even more documents were discovered in an unsecured private office at the UPenn Biden Center at the University of Pennsylvania, in this case, Washington, D.C. Some materials dating back to Biden's time as senator, University of Delaware. In other words, Biden's pattern of mishandling secret government material went on for decades. There have never, ever, ever been any charges against Joe Biden. No talk of even a grand jury with this special counsel in his case. No information at all whatsoever in the lead up to Trump's indictment, one leak, one day after another. So given today's news, I guess there are two sets of laws, one for Clinton, one for Biden, one for Democrats and other high-profile liberal Democrats, and another whole set of standards as it applies to Donald Trump, his supporters, any other conservative. When you're a Democrat or a Trump hater, guess what? You can just say, oops, and all is forgiven. It's that simple. Or in case of Joe Biden, you can just lie. For example, Biden swore that he never once spoke to his son or his brother or family about his shady foreign business deals. That's a complete lie. We've proven that over and over again. In fact, Biden was pictured with numerous Hunter business partners, including a fellow Burisma board member. And now, thanks to Chairman Comer's House Oversight Committee investigation, we now know that the trusted FBI source accusing Joe Biden of taking foreign bribes in exchange for policy decisions. Well, we know a lot more about this individual. We already know that Biden, as vice president, was tasked with leading America's policy in Ukraine during the Obama administration. And we know that Hunter was raking in at least 50 grand a month from a Ukrainian oil giant and gas giant the very same time. We also know Hunter accepted lavish gifts from the founder of Burisma. We know he was paid a fortune, but yet he admitted on Good Morning America he had no experience. Then he had gifts. By the way, did he ever file taxes on those? Did he ever register as required by the FARA Act? And were there any policy changes? What did he do in exchange for this money? Now, we also know that Joe, as vice president, well, he leveraged $1 billion U.S. taxpayer dollars. Why? To get a Ukrainian prosecutor fired. That prosecutor investigating Hunter's employer, Burisma Holdings, and Hunter himself for corruption. And son of a bee, he withheld that billion, and in 6 hours, they fired the guy. Now, according to FoxNews.com, the FBI's confidential human source, who has now been out there, this is the James Comer and Charles Grassley 1023 form that they've been looking for. But that person apparently detailed conversations with the Burisma executive. This executive reportedly referred to Hunter as dumb, but then said, quote, had to pay the Bidens because the Ukrainian prosecutor, Viktor Shokin, the one that was fired by Joe or because of Joe, was investigating Burisma, and it would be difficult to enter the U.S. market in the midst of that investigation. That was the very same Ukrainian prosecutor that Biden forced out in 6 hours, leveraging your money. Now, the source claims that a $5 million payment was directed to Joe Biden, another $5 million payment to Hunter Biden, and as FoxNews.com reports, these were not direct payments. Instead, they were made, quote, through so many different bank accounts that investigators would not be able to unravel this for at least 10 years. Well, James Comer seems to be getting there. Again, these are allegations. They are made by a confidential human source. That's what he is saying. And he worked for the FBI for years. In fact, the FBI trusted this source so much, they paid this individual $200,000 plus for previous intelligence. And yet, as far as we know, the DOJ, they've known about this since 2017. They're not pursuing a case against the big guy, Joe. They're not looking at Hunter's laptop where he complained bitterly about giving half his income to Pops or paying for Pops' home repairs. So after, pushing the Russia hoax, committing FISA abuse, falsifying documents, squeezing witnesses over process crimes, and, of course, using heavy-handed raids to intimidate witnesses and then leaking a lot of it to the press, also pushing big tech to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story that we all know was very real, and now seemingly ignoring bribery allegations against Biden, I think it's pretty fair for Americans to conclude how insulting it is for a DOJ special counsel to trot out and lecture all of us how that we have equal treatment under the law, because I'm not buying that in this America, Joe Biden's America. The sheer lack of self-awareness is beyond stunning, but in reality, Biden's far left DOJ, they probably don't care. They just want to get Trump at any cost. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.